Hey there YouTube, Wrestling Optimus here, back with my review of AEW Revolution. First, I want to give a quick peek behind the scenes. I'm currently working 7 days a week, so it's really hard to get these videos out in a timely manner. The algorithm certainly hates me right now, but whatever. Rest assured, I have a ton of ideas in the pipeline, and I'm gonna pump them out as best I can. In the meantime, thank you so much to every single person who watches these. As friend of the channel Simon Miller would say, it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. Anyway, back to AEW Revolution. Let's face it, this is really a one-match card, and the rest is just filler until the main event. But that doesn't mean we can't enjoy the ride. So before we say goodbye to an icon, let's take it over to the action figures. I didn't watch the pre-show, but apparently Pac had a return package, so expect the Geordie back soon. That means first up on the main card, Christian Cage retains his TNT title over Daniel Garcia after lots of interference from the Patriarchy, and despite the help of Daddy Magic taking out Killswitch. Still waiting on figures for all those former JAS members. Eddie Kingston defeated Daniel Bryan next to retain his Triple Crown title and forced Bryan to shake Eddie's hand and show him respect. Then we got the All-Star Scramble, which replaced the Meat Madness match, and featured Hook, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Chris Jericho, Wardlow with the Undisputed Kingdom, Dante Martin, and Magnus from CMLL. Unlike a Battle Royal, there are no eliminations. The first man to score a pinfall or submission earns a world title shot. Things start with a flex-off between Wardlow, Hobbs, Archer, and Cage. They trade shoulder tackles before everything devolves into a meaty brawl. That's followed by some high-flying action from the less meaty guys, and in the end, Wardlow powerbombs Dante Martin for the win. This was fun, I guess, but felt unnecessary. Freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy defends his International Championship against Roderick Strong. They have a decent match, but in the end, Roddy blocks an orange punch and counters with the End of Heartache to become your new International Champion. Afterwards, he celebrates with the Undisputed Kingdom when suddenly a disheveled Kyle O'Reilly makes his shock return. He embraces Strong, who hands him a t-shirt, but Kyle doesn't take it. He whispers something to Roddy and walks away to chants of "Welcome back." For some reason, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli of the Blackpool Combat Club come out in Road Warriors costumes, complete with spiked shoulder pads, as they take on Hometown Boys FTR. Fittingly at one point, the BCC hit a modified Doomsday device. Then, surprisingly, it's Dax, not Mox, who bleeds first after getting slammed into a ring post. The blood loss plays into the finish as both members of FTR are locked in chokeholds and Dax passes out. Per usual, there's only one women's match on the card, as Timeless Toni Storm defends her AEW Women's Championship against her former friend, the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. Things begin with a swerve, as Mariah May comes out to Toni's old music and wearing Toni's old ring gear. That certainly had me fooled. Anyway, it's a good match until Deonna gets the visual submission, only for Luther and Mariah to distract the ref and give Toni the chance to hit a pile driver and retain her title. Don Callis pits two of his family members against each other as Konosuke Takeshita takes on the aerial assassin Will Ospreay, with Callis joining commentary. He promises this will be match of the night, and admittedly, if you're into this kind of match, it probably was. Takeshita dominates much of it until Ospreay hits a Tiger Driver 91, followed by a Hidden Blade to win. Again, if you're like Dave Meltzer, this was probably 5 stars, 7 in the Tokyo Dome. Both men bow to each other in a sign of respect, then another member of the Don Callis family, and fellow member of the United Empire, Kyle Fletcher, stares down Ospreay ahead of their match on Dynamite this week, before the two embrace. Jim Ross joins commentary for what WWE would probably call the co-main event, as Samoa Joe defends the AEW World Championship against Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page in a triple threat match. Unlike Hangman's stripped-down entrance, Swerve comes out with dancers doing the na-na. Meanwhile, all Joe needs is a towel and a title to make a badass entrance. After a Swerve stomp, Hangman breaks up the pin by pulling out the ref, who takes a nasty bump on the floor. Page grabs the title belt and clocks Strickland in the head twice. Then he hits 2 buckshot lariats on Joe, but the ref is still down. Friend of the channel Bryce Remsburg comes out, but it's too late, so Hangman beats him up for his troubles. Swerve hits a JML driver on Page, but then gets hit with a half-and-half suplex by Joe, who chokes out Hangman to retain. The actual main event is the Icon Sting's final match, as he defends the AEW Tag Team titles along with Darby Allin against the Young Bucks in Greensboro, North Carolina, the site of many legendary Sting matches, specifically against Ric Flair, who arrives to audible boos. He's followed by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, serving as guest timekeeper. Also, Nikita Koloff, Magnum TA, and Scotty Riggs are all at ringside. The Bucks come out with Flair-style robes, but their cannons shoot business cards instead of fake money. An incredible video retrospective plays as the crowd chants "Thank you, Sting." Then his sons come out dressed as Surfer Sting from Great American Bash and NWO Wolfpack Sting before the man, the myth, the legend himself slowly walks out, bat in hand, to soak in the adoration of a white-hot crowd, singing his old theme music, Metallica's Seek and Destroy. Tony Schiavone does his final, "It's Sting!" Before anyone can appreciate the moment, Darby coffin drops the Bucks and the bell rings. Because it's no DQ, Sting, his sons, and Darby all hit Stinger splashes on both Matthew and Nicholas. Then, out come the tables, ladders, chairs, and panes of glass? The Sons set up one of these across some chairs. Remember this for later. But first, they brawl through the crowd to chants of "Fuck the Young Bucks." That only pisses off the EVPs though, who wind up throwing both Darby and Sting off the stage through even more tables. Back in the ring, Darby sets up a massive ladder, lays Nicholas across that pane of glass I told you to remember, and does a diving front flip, only for Matthew to save his brother at the last second. Allin crashes through the glass in an absolutely horrific spot that leaves his back a bloody mess. Sting is dragged back to the ring and eventually powerbombed through a table, but he no-sells it and goes after the Bucks, only to be put through another pane of glass set up in the corner. Nicholas attempts to steal the title belts, but Ricky Steamboat stops him. Matthew takes him out with a chair and tries to attack Sting, but Ric Flair jumps in and covers his friend. Although this makes the Bucks hesitate, they eventually nail both Ricky and Rick with double super kicks, and I'm starting to fear for the safety of these old-timers. Sting kicks out of a title shot to the face, no-sells a double super kick of his own, and kicks out of 2 EVP triggers. He powers up in time for Darby to come back, then together they nail a Scorpion Death Drop and a Coffin Drop on Matthew before applying the Scorpion Deathlock and forcing the tap-out victory to thunderous applause and a shower of confetti. Sting retires as a champion, which has its own set of issues, but we can address those later because in this moment it didn't matter. With 3 minutes left, the Icon gets on the mic and thanks the North Carolina fans for their support since 1988. He also thanks Darby, calling him the best tag team partner he's ever had. I'm sure he said more, but the pay-per-view goes off the air to chants of "You still got it." The rest of the pay-per-view was very solid from an in-ring perspective, but kind of meh in terms of storylines. Honestly, I've been down on AEW for a while now, so that might be clouding my judgment. But I think it's safe to say, although the matches were all technically great, they had very little heat. AEW likes to put together dream matches with big-name stars, but far too often they forget to highlight what exactly makes them stars in the first place, so there's no emotional investment from the fans. Still, that main event and the way Sting got to retire was truly special and brings up my grade to a 9 out of 10. Alright, that'll do it for AEW Revolution. Let me know what you thought of the show down there in the comments. If you like this video, make sure to do all that normal YouTube stuff. Smash the like button, share with any wrestling or action figure fans you may know, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word. You can also talk to me over on X at WrestlingOptimus, or see all my best figure photography over on Instagram at WrestlingOptimus. If you haven't seen my latest video, it should be on screen now. But until next time, I've been Wrestling Optimus, and I'll catch you later.